Welcome to Zen Live. So anyway, this morning I gave my talk at 8 o'clock, and it was a pretty nice talk. And then when I logged it up, I noticed that I had forgot to put my mic on, so there was no sound. So I just deleted it and figured I would, let me get this wire screwed up here a little bit. Hold on. So I figured I'd do it tomorrow, but then I had a really nice experience this morning where a lady came to do a little photo shoot who had MS, and she had started to write, and so she wanted to needed some pictures for her book. And she was such a joyous lady with so much laughter, and so she had begun to write because as her body began to fail and not function so well, she was moving into the mental world, into the writing world, into her art. And I came up with a tagline, a title for "Got MS? Make tea." So, because she's making tea, the book she had, it was about tea, little Southern story, and she wanted some pictures with tea, making tea, and we began to talk, about the fact that this is what Zen is all about. Basically, the spiritual journey is disidentifying with the body, not leaving but detaching from the world of the body and the world of time, and attainment, past and future. And so the getting something like MS or something where you are forced to turn within because you're not invested in the body, in the world. You can't. The body's not going out there. So the creative energy then goes within and discovers a whole new meaning and purpose in life. So then it becomes the happy fault, in the sense that had it not been for that, I would not have all this fullness of life I have. The Holy Grail was this affliction. The Holy Grail turned out to be my miserable parents. The Holy Grail turned out to be all these things, these tragedies, these upsets that I thought were so bad. Why me? Why me? So when at the turning point, it becomes yes. It's almost like it was a blessing. I tripped into this and fell into this, you see, and everything opened up because I accepted it. I didn't fight it. This is what is. Let me see if I can make some tea. Have a cup of tea, you see. Anyway, so this happened after I deleted my first morning talk. And check my time. The talk was about Let There Be One, which is a theme I've been working on here lately. Let there be one is the categorical commandment of the universe, of life. Let there be one. Not two, but one. And yet there are many. So let there be one that contains the many. But what is the one? It can't be a thing, it can't be form, because form is in time. Form is the many. Phenomena. Conflict, form, bumper cars, boom, 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 you see. So the one contains the many. The one contains the many. So that you can't really find the one in form. So when the body is form, and the body connects to form, and the body is, everything is form. Where can you draw a distinction between forms, you see, when there is the one? So then that took me to the idea of the communion, Remembrance of Me. And I was at the hang with me while I connect the dots. So this weekend, this Sunday, I was at Mount Nebo Church taking some pictures, and I was at the communion. And the communion in churches whether it's Catholic or down to Baptist, whatever the range is, they're all a little different. They're all in time. They're all in remembrance of time, remembrance of Jesus in the past and Jesus coming in the future. So it's kind of like we live in this bookend, like Jesus in the past, in the Bible and history, and Jesus is coming tomorrow. It's like this two bookends, and we're kind of like in this dead space in between, and when we die, we go to a better place. So we kind of like live in this bookended between paradise lost and paradise regained, you see. So this of time, you see, this whole thing of time past, time future. And we're running like this, you see. We're running from the past to the future along this narrow beam. And at any moment, we can drop off. You see? Oh no, I got MS. Oh no. You see, why me? Why me? So I got to thinking about this whole communion. And this is nothing wrong with looking at it this way. We have to live in time. And we have to, have a story and all of that, you see. But the real message of the communion to me is that in remembrance of the One. And the One is timeless. Okay, so in remembrance of the timeless One. Now what does that mean? So when Jesus says to create the ritual of the Mass, the Last Supper, he says, this is my body, or the bread, this is my body, this is my blood. Now we all interpret that symbolically, or metaphorically, or whatever. It's pointing to, it's not, he didn't say, I'm a piece of bread. No, or did he? Now, if Jesus is speaking from the timeless One, which is now, the timeless One is now, if he is speaking from the eternal One, timeless now, then what he is saying is literally, this bread is my body, this wine is my blood. But he could just as easily said, this cotton ball is my body, this coffee is my blood. Which is meaning then that I am one with this. There is no division between me and this in time. There is no subject-object in the timeless now. There is no subject chasing an object in the timeless now. And so I write this up, this Ouroboros, my favorite. Okay? The snake chasing the tail. This is the subject. The subject, me. And the tail is the object, it. So we're chasing me, we're chasing it. This is the new car. This is the future. I'm chasing every new better. Everything is better. You got to get this. You got to get this. This marker is better than the one you had. Go buy a new one. Everything. This medicine is better. This toothpaste is now new. It's better than the old toothpaste. Everything is better than what you've got. So we're chasing time. We're chasing the tail of time. The subject, me, is empty, so we're chasing something to fill it up, you see. And so it goes around and around and around in time, in a tape loop, in a feedback loop. Where is the One? Where is the peace? Where is the completion? You see, we don't know. It's in time. And you see this, now let's change this to now. So all we have to do is add that. Do you notice that I just made an ohm? You see? That's an ohm. An ohm is the eternal sound, because this is the sound. In sound, ohm is one, because it contains all the sound, the vocal sounds you can make. Om. All sounds are contained in that. So Om is the one that contains the many sounds. So the Om is a metaphor, or is the one sound that contains all. So it is also, it's one sound that contains all, and it's also a metaphor for the one, for the timeless now. And so when we tap into or fall into or discover the one, which is a remembrance of the one that is always now. We're always now. So to remember that we're always now, eternally now, is the one that is basic to me, the one or the me that is remembered in the communion. So there are two ways to interpret the communion. The horizontal way of the communion is a symbol of time past, or the vertical now, or the one. So when we tap into the one, the now, the vertical dimension, we are one with the world. Krishnamurti, my root master teacher, was always saying the observer and the observed are one. The subject, the observer, and the observed, the it, is one. So where is it one? It's one in the now. But this is a discovery. The now, or the one, let there be one, is a revelation or a discovery that happens spontaneously when you see that the snake chasing itself, the Ouroboros, is a feedback loop that will forever be dissatisfactory. The futility of chasing yourself, the futility of chasing the world, the futility of chasing form for permanent satisfaction is the doorway to dropping into and discovering the now, or the timeless one, which in the mystical view is Christ. So you really got Christ in two dimensions here. You got the historical Jesus in time. He's back here in the past. He's in the future. He's somewhere out there, and we're looking for him. And then you have that's the Jesus, the historical Jesus, but then you have the vertical dimension of the eternal Christ that is now. And so the eternal Christ that is now is not an object, it's you. Je suis Christ, je suis. No subject and no division, no gap between me and the objects, you see. So everything is Christ. There's no cherry picking here. When everything is Christ, including you, you see, that is the one that includes the many. There's no more division. So there's nowhere you can go that you are not Christ or God. Because even then, there's no division between Christ and God. So Jesus says, the Father and I are one. So if you drop into the one, you are Christ now, but there is no not Christ. And this is very ironic, because if everything were green, you couldn't see green. The fish can't see the water. If everything were green, you would have to have one spot. If everything were white, you would have to have one spot of black in order to see the white. Do you see that? It would be a whiteout. And there would be no white if you couldn't see it. So the same way with Christ, if everything is Christ in the now, you can't see Christ, because to see Christ you would have to see not Christ. Or to see God you would have to see not God. So when you're in the now, in the one, everything is God, nothing is God. Because there is no differentiation. Where can I go that God is not? You would have to have one thought in order to create the gap in time and restart the Ouroboros chasing itself in time. It's just one thought. In Zen, it said one thought separates heaven from earth. One thought separates eternity from time. because time and thought are one. When we start thinking and investing in thinking and believing in thinking, we're believing in time. And time believed in is time experienced. Time believed in is time real, you see. But when we drop into the now, we're walking along and we fall into it spontaneously, like Alice in Wonderland. You can't make it happen in time because the timeless is not in time. So there's a point in your path, in your life, where you have moments when you fall into the timeless now. And they're transformative. Because when you come back into the world of time, everything is different. So I've been, playing with this and looking back and forth and playing with this cotton ball with my talks, and I pull it apart and I try to make it transparent. And so this whole idea, you see, of the teachings of Jesus, unfortunately, are all read and studied and looked at through the eye of time, which is the conditioning of our material culture. Materialism, scientific materialism is a world of time because it makes stuff. You make stuff in time. You got air conditioning. You got a lot of good stuff, you see. So it's nothing wrong with this. It's just that we have forgotten the timeless dimension that opens up beneath our feet, that opens up beneath us, you see. So in remembrance of me is not a remembrance of time, but a remembrance of yourself as being timeless, as being essentially formless. The awareness of timeless, of now, is not in form, because form is many. Form is me, I'm a form, and you're a form. I got all these forms around me, you see. That's in time, in space-time. Form conforms to the laws of space-time. But the timeless is not, now is not form. So when you drop unexpectedly into a moment, an instant, a flashbulb flash, it's not even experience because there's nobody there to experience it. It's dropping into a timeless, now everlasting peace that passes understanding. Peace that passes understanding is a peace that transcends the understanding of time. So I look at the Bible and I see two fingers. One points to history and time and the story and all that, but the other finger is mystical. The other finger points to the timeless now. But you cannot understand the timeless now from time. So it makes no sense. So we translate it into time. So we translate the Mass into time and think of it as something in the past that we're remembering and something that's going to happen in the future. But now is kind of dead. So anyway, thank you for dropping in, and I'll try to remember to put my mic on.